I use the 80-20 rule in marketing when it comes to your content. 80% is the educational, the inspirational, the motivational. 20% is the sell my shit. 80-20 rule works there. 80-20 rule works here. This was 20% science and medicine, 80% up here, 80% drive, 80% focus. And on the 2nd of April, 2025, I coughed. And that cough caused half of my body to go into spasm.
Do you think your mindset changed after your cough?
It's changed the physical vessel, but it hasn't changed my vision.
And if this was your book, your life, what would be the title of the chapter of your current situation right now? What's the best piece of advice that you've ever received? So, Christina, thank you so much for coming and working on it. I appreciate your time. So, why marketing?
Why marketing? I was thinking, where's he going to start?
Yeah.
Where's he going to start? Why marketing? Okay, so you get to a point in life and you realise that you've recreated yourself way too many times. So I go back to one of my recreations. I had been made redundant from a career that I loved. And because I'd never gone to university and I'd got 2 kids and I was thinking, well, be the best example to them, I'll go back to university as a mature student. Well, I dropped out in year 2 of that because I hated being in that environment, hated everything about university as a mature student. The one thing I loved was this 6-week module I'd done around social media. Now, at this point, I was one of those people that were like, Facebook? Why would anyone be like, what are you going to do? Like, just sit there scrolling, looking at yourself, like, what's wrong with you? But in this module, it just really opened my eyes to the power of social media. We'd launched this event from nothing, with no brand, using social media, and got 500 people in a room. Very, very niche audience, but we'd been able to do it. And I was like, oh my God, this is so powerful. And I could just see how social media would work. So now I've dropped out. I'm thinking, what the fuck am I going to do?
Yeah.
Well, actually, I could do social media for little local businesses. Like there must be a need for that. Did a little bit of a search and this company came up that was literally less than 5 minutes from my house. Oh, that's interesting. They were a social media agency doing exactly what I was thinking would be the ideal service. So I started following them, and literally within a couple of days, they put an ad out for a social mediator. I applied for it. I got the job. Like within a week I was working then. It's like, brilliant, the stars have aligned. To start off with, I was doing like an hour a day. It's like a freelance position. Within a couple of months, I was now admin in the office on payroll, part-time. Within 6 months, I was second in command of the business.
Wow.
So that was back in 2013. And the more I did, the more I learned, the more I loved. And I could see, we've got this idea of like left brain, right brain, the data stuff and the creative stuff. Well, I kind of sit right in the middle, which is quite unusual. Probably explains why I've reinvented myself so many times. But I just loved how I could take a business that was a hidden secret and get attention for that business and help that business owner to not just be a business owner, but actually become an entrepreneur and get over themselves, really. And I hate when people use that for stop getting in your own way, get over yourself. Hate it when people say that. But it was literally that. And it was the power of social media as a piece, but then it moved beyond that. So if we think about marketing funnels, social media sits right at the top with awareness. Brilliant, we can build an audience. Doesn't mean we can sell a bottle of water to them. We've just got an audience, great. So how do we get that someone in that audience to move through our marketing funnel to a place where they're putting money in our hands? And so my left brain loving the data and putting the plans together and making everything work and getting the result at the end. And my right brain with this, like, how can we be creative with the content? And how can I help this entrepreneur to actually become the creator themselves and open up that part of them, which a lot of people keep hidden. They're worried that someone might judge them if they kind of raise their head above the parapet. And actually, like, just getting rid of that. And the more I did, the more new strategies I learned, the more tactics I learned, and the more I fell in love with it. So like I say, I started there in 2013. If I fast forward to 2019, we went through a management buyout and I became the owner of that business. So literally on the 1st of April 2019, I went to an office and signed a form and did a bank transfer and went home and had beans on toast for my lunch. Not literally on that, but that's how it felt. So I remember sitting in the car afterwards going, like, just this weird stillness around me that my mind was kind of going like, oh my God, what, like, you've just actually done, like, you've actually just done this. But a calm around me that made me know it was the right decision.
Yeah.
When the founder of the business first asked me, it was probably around 2016. She first asked me. We were just taking a walk, break from the desk, walk around the building, and conversation came to what her exit strategy might be. And she said she'd want to do a management buyout. Would I be interested in buying the business? And I was like, yeah, of course. Yes. Inside, I was going, what the fuck is wrong with you? You're the I was like, you're the entrepreneur, like little Miss Nobody. Yeah. Like, are you mad? But yeah, time passed and I just grew more and more in my role, and my personal brand had started to grow. Very, very early days of building my personal brand, but all of a sudden I could see myself as that like I was doing the job of the business owner anyway. I just didn't have access to the bank account. So yeah, I then spent a large sum of money to get access to the bank account.
That's brilliant.
Yeah.
I mean, just on that, when you said about the you went home and had beans on toast. There was a lady that we had on before, and she sold her company for 7 million. And she went home, and every Friday she'd go and go to her favourite cafe and have like a latte and this particular sandwich that she used to buy every Friday. And this deal, the final transaction ended on the Friday morning, and she's like, right, that's it, I'm going to go to the Ritz, I'm going to do it, and all this lead up to it, and all she wanted to do was go to the cafe and have a latte. She goes, but now she's like £7 million richer. So it's crazy, isn't it? Like, nothing changes.
So this is the thing that I love about what I do. So that's kind of what I've shared with you, is like phase one of the story. Okay, so in that, I was able to bring people out of themselves and get them public, because people buy from people, human to human marketing. Doesn't matter what the business is, doesn't matter how the business is doing, doesn't matter how many zeros are in your bank account, you are still you. And more often than not, it's not the business that's the biggest kept secret, it's the entrepreneur. And the more I did, so as a business owner, I was like totally in it with the marketing stuff, but there's so many different facets to business that I was then going out, educating myself, getting mentors, getting myself in the right circles. So I wasn't in a vacuum. It was really important for me to get to a point where I was in rooms where I was middle of the pack. Where I live is a tiny little town, and there is a business community there, but they weren't thinking in the lines I was thinking. Their vision was not aligned to mine. And so I needed to go and get myself in bigger circles, which I did. The more I did that, the more I became a mentor myself to others. And then all of a sudden I've got the marketing piece going on and I've got this mentorship piece going on, which allowed me to give back as an entrepreneur. I'd learned so much from people that I then wanted to be able to pass that on to others. Every time we teach something, we learn it again ourselves. And so I just grew as a person, absolutely grew, and was just able to operate as an entrepreneur with all these different things going on. I co-authored a book. I'd got my own podcast. We know each other from mentoring circles that we're both in. I'd got the business going. I was then able to get involved with another business as well. I got a few other things that, are happening in secret. And life was full. Everything was amazing. I was living my best life.
Yes.
And the thing was, I was living my best life because the business gave me a resource to do it.
Yeah.
But I was the entrepreneur. It wasn't about green umbrella marketing. It wasn't about Christina the mentor. It was about Christina the human sat in this chair now. All the things that were important to me. I always say, from a personal brand perspective, I'm about three things: marketing, mindset, and mischief. And that is, I had so much fun going on in my life.
Yeah.
Now, if you ask me what my fun was, it would be watching a podcast with my friends that is around neuroscience or profitability or, stories of entrepreneurs that have exited their businesses for millions of pounds. That was fun to me. Yeah. And I say that as if it's past tense. It's still present tense. But all of this, I was living a life of purpose. And we talk so much about, there's 100 podcasts out there related to business, and the idea of vision and purpose is talked about all the time. But when you are working on purpose, when you have clarity in your vision and it's all coming together, man, that's the way to live life. It really is. It absolutely is. So what I love most is being able to work with entrepreneurs to do that stuff. Yeah. And just bring all of me to the table. Now, I'm in a kind of another recreation phase at the minute because that's the life I was living. And then on the 2nd of April, 2025, I coughed. Very simple thing. I'd done all the crazy Christmas, New Year's stuff, finally home on my own, laid on my sofa, podcast on, thinking about going to the gym the next day. And I coughed. And that cough caused half of my body to go into spasm.
Just from a cough?
Just from a cough. A disc blew through the bottom of my spinal cord. So your spinal cord is kind of like one strip, and at the bottom, the nerves all kind of spread out like a horse's tail. It's called your cauda equina. And the disc went through that area. And as it went through, most people have had a slipped disc, disc compression. And that's when the disc kind of presses on the cord. Mine went all the way through. And it damaged and it destroyed nerves that feed my hips down. I had emergency surgery on the 6th. A couple of days later, I was told it was unlikely I'd walk again. And here I am, 15 months later, and I can walk about 30 metres on crutches. That's new since Christmas.
Yes.
I go between wheelchair and my granny walker, which is over there somewhere. And it's changed the physical vessel, but it hasn't changed my vision. And it hasn't changed my purpose. My recreation now is, okay, I know what I want to do, and I know I can do it, and I know how to do it, but what are the vehicles I want to use? What resources do I want to tap into to allow me to tick all those boxes? And I think this is why being so strong on vision, so strong on purpose, having the right mindset is so important. When they said to me it was unlikely I'd walk again, I literally said to the surgeon, unlikely means it's possible. And I'm going to focus there. I say 80-20 rule. I use the 80-20 rule in marketing when it comes to your content. 80% is the educational, the inspirational, the motivational. 20% is the sell my shit. 80-20 rule works there. 80-20 rule works here. This was 20% science and medicine, 80% up here, 80% drive, 80% focus. And that's what's got me from where I was to where I am today. And the thing is, that mentality, everything I learn in business, it's not just in business anymore. It's in Christina, and it affects all areas of my life. And you know as well as I do, as an entrepreneur, we've got to have that balance. We can't be... I talk about masks. There was one point in my life where I had the business mask, the mask when I was with my parents, the mask with my kids, the mask with my husband. You know, it's that. And every now and then I would go out and be able to exhale and just be me for a minute. But it would normally be when I was sat in the car on my own. Or it would be at 2:00 in the morning when I got up for a pee and looked in the mirror and the true me was there. And I think the biggest lesson one of the biggest lessons that entrepreneurs can learn is to actually be so good in here that they're the same person pitching to a board, spending time with their kids, the same person as they are at 2:00 in the morning when they're looking in the mirror and no one else is watching. And for me, that's really important. I've gone on a bit there, sorry. Your podcast, you're allowed to talk now.
No, that's fine.
This is where the mischief is.
This is the mischief part. No. Well, I mean, there's quite a lot to unpack there, but just on that last piece with the mask, does people have a perception about you being this type of person that you've probably portrayed perhaps with the mask on, and sometimes you don't really feel like being that person, but then you know you have to, or you choose to, because it's the mask that you've shown that person?
So, two-part answer. It used to be that way. When very early in my personal branding days, rather than thinking about what I stood for, I was thinking about what people needed to see me standing for. So it was like, what perception do you want to create? Well, let me go be that. That's where I was putting the mask on and off. That's where sometimes it was like, oh my God, how do I pull this out of me right now? And marketers talk about authenticity. Apologies, I'm going to use the word.
It's a big word at the moment, isn't it? Yeah.
That wasn't authentic. I was an actor in my own life. You know, it was like the what's it called when you've like the person supposed to be playing the role is, you know, literally broken a leg and they're it's got to step in. Can't think of what the word was now.
It's not a substitute, but there's a word for it. Yes, I know which one you mean.
So when that substitute was sitting in there, it was really hard. Really hard. Oh my God, I've got to be all these things. How do I get onto this stage now and be motivational and inspirational?
That's it.
How can I do this to bring the energy? And I don't know at what point, I don't know when it really happened where I just went, this ain't working for me. And I think when you've got your marketing hat on, you have to be selfish. Okay.
In which way? From
a personal brand perspective, it's about who you are, It's for you, not for them. Podcasting is a fantastic example. Your podcast is your podcast. You get to choose who the guests are. You get to choose the topics. You get to have the conversations you want to have for as long as you want to have them. Don't cut me off now. And it's kind of like, yeah, we need the audience and we want the audience, but actually it's kind of a little bit like fuck the audience. Do you know what I mean? And this is where the selfishness needs to come in, because when you do that, the people that will tune in, that will listen episode after episode after episode, they're the people that are attracted to you, that want to work with you, that want to hear from you, that value what you have to say. All those other people you were trying to people please, they were just going to screw you. They're the clients that come in where all the alarm bells are ringing and you send them the invoice anyway and do the work anyway. And a week into the project, you're like, oh my God, I knew this was going to happen and I can't get out of it now. True. So a little bit of selfishness, once I brought that in, I went, you know, I'm not going to be anyone else. Let me be me. And when I gave myself that permission, that's when I saw the biggest growth in the business. It just kind of happened. So, like I said, there's two parts to it. So that's kind of like the first part.
So the first part, like you say, authenticity, be yourself, but really, really be yourself.
Yeah.
And do it for yourself.
Exactly.
Yes. Okay.
Exactly
I get that. That's brilliant.
When I was trying to be that other person, yes, it was exhausting. It was if someone would, you know, I do a little public speaking. Someone would see me on stage, but if they saw me, you know, in the queue for a coffee half an hour later, it's like two different people. Because I couldn't switch it. I had to switch it on and off, on and off, on and off. And sometimes I didn't know where I was. You know, and I didn't know it. I just felt this uneasiness and this, you know, it was, I don't know who I'm supposed to be now. And when I think about what success is, for me, freedom is a massive part of that. Freedom is huge in terms of my values. That's not freedom. Not knowing who you're supposed to be in a moment, questioning yourself in that way, that is not freedom. Freedom to be who I am every hour of the day, to me, that was one of the success boxes ticked. Once I'd embraced that, it takes me on to like the second answer to that question, right? When I kind of went, fuck the world, this is me, like it or don't, I had a brilliant mentor, and I guess I was in the crossover stages at this point. And he said to me, Christine, if you've got an audience of 100 people, 20 will love you, 20 will hate you, the rest don't give a fuck. They're just not paying attention. So all you need to do is focus on the 20 that will like you. And it's so true. The 20 that hate me, they're never going to buy from me anyway. She talks too much. She moves her hands around too much when she's chatting. She's, you know...
She's mischievous.
Yeah. They're never going to buy from me. You know, they want someone that's a bit kind of pinstripe suit and, you know, the old boy no brown in town kind of mentality. They're never going to work with me. And even if they try to, we're going to clash. So focus on the 20% that love you. And those ones that we're not paying attention, some of them come over anyway. So stop the people pleasing. When I embraced that, I became exactly the same person, whether I was bumping into you in Starbucks, on a stage in front of hundreds, thousands of people, with my kids, with my family, you know, the things I believed in, and I believed in them everywhere I was. All of a sudden, I've got photos, like personal brand shoot photos, and I look really good. but I look like this real powerful businesswoman, and the angle's right. So
she's got it all figured out.
And I look at me in my green suit, and there was no love in that image, right? Whereas what was inside that individual that was kind of like had walls all around, like, look at me, I'm fantastic, but you're not getting through my walls, was actually a very heart-led leader. And so when I kind of made that transition, it's silly things like I never would have hugged people at that point in my life. Whereas now I rock up to rooms where I'm a leader and it's like 9:30, everyone's going to come in. I go and park myself by the door so I can literally hug everyone coming in. I'm known for my hugs. Yeah. And it's that I can be brutal with people. And you've witnessed me doing it, where they're like giving the chat and I'm like, I've asked you a question.
Yes.
That's a great answer, but it's not the answer to my question. I'm going to ask you this again now. It happened a few weeks ago. I was on a call where I was a mentor and I asked this guy this question. And he just kept coming back with story, excuse. And I was like, mate, I've asked you a yes or no question. So you've got two options, yes or no. Do you understand? Yes, I do. Okay, I'm going to ask you the question again now. Remember, it's yes or no.
Yeah.
Ask the question again. And he went, and I went, and there's like 15 people on the call. Everyone's like, and the guy's laughing as well.
Yeah.
Again, that's my mischief. I just tell it how it is. I don't need to listen to anyone's excuses. I was going to say bullshit then, but it's not that. Like we make excuses. Yeah. We frame things the way we want to see them. And that's why having mentors is so important. But yeah, to complete the answer to your question, when you are, again, it's that analogy of 2:00 in the morning when no one's looking. If you're the same person then as you are in every other area of your life at every minute of every day, there's never putting the mask on and off because you just are as you are. There's some days where you're like, I haven't got it in me today. And you rock up and you're like, guys, I haven't got it in me today, because that's who you are. Now, people have, especially this last year, people have made a lot of comments to me about how they see me. And one of the words that comes up a lot, it's authenticity is a great word, but the word that comes up the most is vulnerability. Now, when I think about vulnerabilities, I think about weakness, but that's not what they mean. What they mean is there ain't no mask. We see you for who you are. We see you on the days where you're rocking it and you're full of energy and you're beaming and it's just like everything's coming from within you. Yeah. But we can also see that you have the days where everything's just not quite as shiny. And I think that's really important. We look at all these celebrities, influencers, and it's like they're always on. Do you know anyone who's always on?
No. Even just someone that we know, like when our mentor group, like on stage is absolutely amazing. And like you said, funny you mentioned about in the coffee queue, because I saw him at the coffee queue one time. And he's on head in his phone, just like that, just almost like no one speak to me. Real introvert, it's crazy.
Socially awkward.
Yeah, it's crazy. But you mentioned about the mentor thing. What I meant by the masks, or the mask, was that, like if you're mentoring people and sometimes they need you to be that person to help them, but on that day you probably don't want to be that person. What do you do there?
So
we've gone right off script, by the way. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Yeah.
Missed it.
Anyway. Yeah.
Okay. My answer to that, my experience, what I do, how I do it. When I get on those calls and I'm just not feeling it, that like 3:00, I've got, I need to bring it. I remind myself why I'm on that call. And I have an intention. So, we think about goals and tasks and everything else, but what's the intention? And the intention is to give them something of value. So that's what my focus is. And what happens is when you get on that call, we get energy from each other. I can sit at my place on my own. You know, I used to be out every other day and up and down the country and everything else. That my mobility issues mean that I'm pretty much stuck in, 80, 90% of my time I'm in the same four walls. It's hard to be high energy all the time when that's the case. But when I get on that call, hey, how you doing? What's going on? Like straight away, when there's now an energy exchange going on. And I think as long as you're open to that, you just go where the energy takes you. I never jump onto a call now thinking, I used to, I've got this call, I don't feel like it. I would bounce on my chair. I've got a call in 15 minutes, really not feeling I'm going to go for a walk for 10 minutes to get some energy in me so I can get on the call and go, hey guys! Yeah. I don't have to do any of that anymore. Yeah. I just get on the call. Yeah. And I think because I am living so freely, if it is authenticity or trans whatever words you want to put on that, I just live in freely. I'm free to be me whenever, however, in business, with friends, with my kids, I'm just me. And so from a mentorship perspective, I get on the call and I'm like, okay, what are you bringing today, Brad? Okay, you're really excited. Let me be excited with you. Right. You're a bit thoughtful, but a bit reflective today. Okay, I'll be reflective with you. I'll meet you where you're at, because as your mentor, my job is to meet you where you're at, make sure you're on the right path, and hopefully by the end of the call, you're a couple of steps forward. You got a bit more clarity than you had before. And yeah, the mentorship's probably the flip of the podcast example that I gave you. When I get on a mentorship call, it's all about them. It's nothing about me. It's not about my ego. It's not about how energetic I am or I'm not, or how I perform or not. It's all about them. What do they need in that moment?
That's very true, isn't it? Because you're there to serve them. So it's like the purpose has shifted a little bit, isn't it? From, say, like yourself being you, and now being you is helping them in a sense.
Absolutely.
So perhaps your purpose of that particular time has shifted, isn't it? Which is probably a better thing, actually, isn't it? Because now you're helping others, so to speak, And
this is the thing. If you think about like our basic human needs, yes, we want shelter and we want family and we want this and we want that. We want significance. But also we want community and we want love, and that means service. And at different points in your life, different things pop up. If I'm going onto a stage speaking, there is significance in that. That's not necessarily a bad thing. Okay, we think, you're so significant. All right, it might be a negative, but in too much is negative, but there is a level. We need an element of significance. We need our kids to listen to us. That's significance playing out. But when they fall over and they bash their knee, it ain't about us. It's about love and connection and service. So, like I said, I think and again, the more freely you live, this stuff just happens. If you're having to think about it, you've got some work to do.
Do you think your mindset changed after your cough?
No.
That whole thing.
Okay.
Or did this shift happen, this more clarity of what your purpose is?
Okay. I would say I had more clarity around my purpose before the cough.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny, because it's almost like a big life-changing incident.
Yeah,
I now can see clearly.
Okay, I can see what I had before with even more clarity.
Yeah.
I had so much gratitude. If I go back to the December before it happened, I had so much gratitude for my life, in my life. And post-cough, it's made me realise that even more.
Hold on, sorry. Is it actually like to cough? Is that what you're actually labelling that time as?
Yeah.
Cough.
Yeah. BC, before cough.
Christina, that's so funny. So, okay, you had clarity BC. Yes.
Yeah. Now it's like the vision's still the same. The vision's the same. The purpose is the same. The how is right now I've got too many fucking options. And what happens is if I give you 3 options, it's really easy to choose. Yeah. If I give you 23 options, you're like, let me think. Oh, WhatsApp to you, mate. What do you think of all these?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
I literally had a WhatsApp conversation with a client yesterday. We're talking about strap lines. And I said, right, you really need to come up with a strap line now. Here's 3 that I've come up with. And they messaged back, well, in our group chat, and there's like a list of like 25 of them. Yeah. I'm like, oh my God. Talk about overwhelm. Yeah. But yeah, to answer the question, the mindset shift happened somewhere between 2020 and 2023. This real mind shift. And I started learning things. I'd been learning for a long time in terms of business, okay, and leadership. But in terms of like what's in here, really started around that point. And all that work that I'd done that had allowed me to live a life I love, when this happened, if I hadn't have had the mindset already, honestly, I don't know how I would have survived this.
Oh, yeah, that's a good way of looking at it, actually. Yeah.
It's being present in the moment when you're in A&E and being shifted from waiting room to this waiting room. Now you're on a bed. Now don't move. Now don't eat anything. And I just had to be in the moment from one thing to the next, to the next, to the next. And there's some odd, if we went deeper into that story, there's some really odd things that happened. And in those odd moments, if I didn't have the mindset, if I didn't have the tools that I'd learnt, I used the tools because I could feel myself falling apart. I could feel anxiety in my body, so I was able to just release that anxiety. I was up here was getting a bit crazy, so I was able to like bring it down to here and like, okay, yeah, well, it's can't control anything right now. We just got to go with it. I said when the doctor said, unlikely, that's negative. What's the positive? Possible. I knew about the 80-20 rule. So many things. In the first couple of weeks, I was laid there and, I couldn't even get my legs in and out of bed at this point. And they thought, right, how am I going to use this experience? Because everything happens for you, not to you. So if this has happened for me, how am I going to use it? And I came up with a model that I'm using in my public speaking now already. And within the first couple of weeks, I came up with that model because I was like, right, how am I getting through this? And, a lot of it's about community, having the right people around you.
No, definitely.
It was being able to, and having a community, not just I go into rooms and there's 100 people in the room and I say hi and hug people, but actual people that I could message and say, this has just happened. I'm going to need help. And this is what I need from you. So one guy in particular, and he'd sort of seen that I'd been in hospital and he messaged me, is there anything I can do? And I was like, yes, I need you to send me a message every day, a question, just to help me to keep my head in the game. I was in hospital for 3 months. Every day of that 3 months, he sent me a question. And it was coaching type questions. What have you learnt in this experience that you will take forward in life? And the commitment, I asked him, he made the commitment to send me the question every day. Brilliant. I made the commitment to answer it every day. And every day I answered those questions. And some days it was harder to answer than others. Other days it was like, bam, I've got the answer. Yeah. there was someone else that was really supportive to me, and I had a banshee moment. Okay, don't think I was all good all the way through this, because remember, we're human, we go up and down, right?
Yes.
This one particular day, what happened when you lose the ability to move half of your body? There's something in you. For me, again, not everyone works this way, but for me, I was refusing to give up. I wanted to be able to swing my legs up on the bed myself. There was a bit of a kerfuffle and things didn't go quite as they should have. And I was sort of left for a minute, and I thought, I'm going to try and swing my legs up myself. And I got stuck. If you imagine being sat on the edge of your bed and just like leaning over and your legs swinging, I got stuck halfway, and all my muscles wasted away because I've been laid, basically at best moved about 10 steps each day at this. I probably wasn't even walking that far at this point. And I was there for about 20 minutes stuck because they were doing meds and the curtain was shut so no one could see me because I was in the corner. I'd hit the buzzer and no one was coming. And I saw the anxiety and the anger in my situation, not the anger at the people, but the anger at my situation was just building. And this nurse appears and I just have an absolute banshee moment. And I am shouting and I'm screaming at her and like, you left me, my legs don't fucking work. And I'm so angry, raging. And I've got this explosion. I'm quite a chilled girl.
Yeah.
I'm exploding. And whilst I'm exploding, I'm going, I'm so sorry, I'm talking to you and because I just couldn't get it out of my system.
Yeah.
And this nurse, even though like banshee is just the right word, and as I'm screaming and smacking my legs, she comes back, she lifts my legs onto the bed and then she gives me a hug.
Oh, that's lovely.
That's love. That's love. That's empathy. That is everything. And I was really upset about this experience, not because it had happened, but because of my reaction to it. That was not a controlled reaction. It can't
be controlled.
It was a reaction, not a response.
And probably frustration from within.
Yeah, it was animal.
Yeah,
there was no intelligence in that moment at all, and I consider myself to be, a bit more elevated than the common caveman. But it was that kind of response. I was talking to a mentor and I forget his exact wording, but within it, he said that he believed that I would be treating everyone with grace. And in brackets, he put, and yourself. Treating myself with grace. What does that mean? How am I treating myself with grace right now? And honestly, that question, there's been a few times I felt like I got the answer, but even now that question haunts me.
You can see the way you're saying it there.
How do you treat yourself with grace?
That's quite a deep question, isn't it? Not to pass it by, but just to actually really sit down and think about that.
Yeah. And especially in those moments of stress. I'm talking about a medical situation, but if you take it into a business situation, imagine it's the end of the month and payroll time and contractors want paying and you've got outstanding invoices with your clients, like your debt ledger's getting higher and higher and there's £3.50 and a packet of crisps in the bank account. Right. And it's like, and you're getting home and like the mortgage is in arrears and kids need school uniform and shoes and you like in those moments, like those are the stress moments where entrepreneurs start to lose it. We hear so many stories of people taking their own lives because of the stress. And actually I can't speak for all situations, obviously, but when I've had people in my world where that's happened, when you unpick the situation, like sitting in the seat now, knowing what I know, I kind of think there was no grace for them. You know, they weren't showing themselves any kindness. And sometimes the people hurting us most are ourselves.
Definitely.
You know, so that question of, you know, and I'd say to anyone listening to this, just grace, just before you even question how you're treating yourself with grace, what does that word mean? Because I think it's kind of hard. You know what it is when you see it and when you feel it, but to actually put it into words, I think it's quite hard. How are you treating your partner with grace? How are you showing grace to your partner? I think it's quite tough. And it's like with anything else, write about your partner, write about you. As soon as it's about you, it's really, really freaking difficult.
It is, yeah, it is very difficult.
But it's it's important. It's so important.
Why do you think that people struggle to do that about themselves? Like, I could sit here and say, Christina, give me 5 things that you love about yourself. And you're like, oh, I can only list 1. I'm like, well, I can list 10. And oh, right back at you, Brad. I'm like, oh, hold up. I'll ask you first.
I think we weren't, honestly, I think we weren't wired to love ourselves.
It's funny that, isn't it?
I think that's and we're wired from an early age, you're taught to take care of others. You're taught to take care of yourself in terms of keeping yourself safe. But you should tell someone else, you should tell your other half she looks beautiful. You tell your kids that you love them. Send my love to whoever. Like, I'd say almost all of my phone calls end with I love you or lots of love, that kind of thing, for that reason. Because it's what you put out comes back to you.
Oh, that's so true.
You know?
I love that.
And if I could put out enough love, my love can come back to me. What's really interesting is that, so one of the exercises I jump on a call with someone to talk marketing, right? And all of a sudden I'm talking about their divorce or the issues they're having with their kids or their, like the stress, depression, anxiety, whatever. It's like I just go where like my job as a mentor is to show up for you however you need me, right? As I just go where it goes. One of the exercises that more often than not I get people to do is stand in front of a mirror, lock eyes with themselves as close as possible, and just say, I love you. And it's amazing how difficult it is for people. However, it's like anything else. It's like building muscle. The more you do it, the easier it gets. And the mind only knows what you tell it. So if in the morning you don't even see yourself in the mirror, when are you ever going to have that opportunity to give yourself that act of self-love? We can do self-love in terms of, buying the new handbag or whatever it might be. That might be more of a me thing than you thing. But, like in material ways, but actually in the emotional, like give yourself a freaking hug. Yeah. Show your self-love kind of way. It's just alien to us. So I think we're just not wired to do it.
It's funny you mentioned about purchases, because sometimes when you buy something that's perhaps a little bit expensive, and everyone has their levels of what a little expensive is, guilt sets in.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I used to do it years ago. And if I bought something nice, I'd ring my mum. Although I wasn't even living with my mum, I'd ring her and say, oh, how you doing, bro? Yeah, I'm doing. I just bought these jeans from Armani, 120 quid. And I'd need. And she said, what? I said, do you know what? Yeah, that's fine. You can afford it. Okay, that's fine. No problem at all.
You need validation.
And, exactly. It was exactly that. And that was when I was like 21. I wasn't even living with my mum. I was living with my own. I was like, and I was doing okay, you know? You think like, but I just had to get it out there. And mum was like, yeah, well, good for you. That's nice. Yeah, but I was like, yeah, it's nice, isn't it? Yeah, nice.
But this is why, it's like, crazy. If we can look to someone else for validation, why can't we look to ourselves for it? If we're okay doing something, we've got permission from someone else, why can't we be the person giving the permission?
To ourselves.
Yeah. You know, and I think there is, and that this idea of self-love is very much around our identity, who we are inside and out. One of my challenges, and like, you know, I am really open about everything. Like I am far from perfect. I'm probably the furthest from perfect I've been in the last 10 years right now sitting here. Since this happened, I've really struggled looking in the mirror. And it's because this has changed my identity. You know, I have a disability now. I am a disabled person. It's taken me the best part of a year to accept that. I didn't have a mirror in my bathroom until about 3 weeks ago. That's how bad it had got. You know, and it is like so many things about my life were in place. What I was doing, how I was doing it, where it was bringing me, how I felt about life, how I felt about this vessel. I was going to the gym 3 times a week, which was an act of self-love. I went to the gym for me, made me feel great, brilliant.
It does, yeah.
What happens when you have a spinal cord injury is that you put on medication that makes you gain weight. You hardly move in comparison to what you did before, so you put on weight. Your diet has to change because your whole metabolism changes, so you put on weight. You know, I went into hospital feeling fantastic, was going out to awards and dinners, feeling like I look great, I feel great, I am fucking great. I went in, when I coughed, I was about 95, 98 kilos. And by the time I left hospital, basically within 6 months, I was in hospital for 3 months, and then it was all a bit weird for a while. So let's say within the 6 month period, I'd put on 30 kilos. You know, and it's like, it's crazy, it's madness.
Yeah.
And I have to count it in kilos, because if I count it in pounds and stone, that'd just send me off the edge.
I'm kilos
do you know what I mean? So it's like my whole identity, it just kind of changed overnight. Because although I was in hospital for 3 months, it felt like, whilst I was in there, it felt long as hell. But it was like, this is no time. And so like, how do we show ourselves grace? Okay, I need to, like, what is it I'm doing? I need to be objective about what's going on around me. What do I need to change so that I can show myself more grace? And sometimes it's as simple as mirror in the bathroom, so that you've got the opportunity to look at yourself and say, I love you.
So Christina, take us back. You've just got the news that it's unlikely that you will walk again. And you go for a pee at 2 a.m. in the morning, and you look at yourself in the mirror. What's going through your head?
I don't know who I am anymore. What am I? Who am I? What does this mean? Where do I go from here? What happens if? What happens if? What happens if? And this is where having the right people around you is so important. The people that you can jump on a call with and say, my life's falling apart, I just need you to listen. Or, I need help with this, I need a solution, this is what's going on. Because sometimes we just need to be heard. We don't need I don't need your answers, I don't need your opinion, I don't need your solution. I just need all this shit to be outside of my body. So There was a bit of that. The first 3 days, during surgery, I'd had a CF leak. So the first 3 days, I had to be laid flat, like couldn't get up, nothing. And this is kind of like, it's at this time I'm getting the news. And so I kind of feel like I'm trapped in my body. And it's like, I don't know what the world looks like anymore. Where my vision was, there was just kind of like this black hole. Because I just didn't know. Didn't know what the future held, or I knew what commitments I had, and I knew I wouldn't be able to make my commitments. And other than that, I had nothing. So yeah, there was a lot of just being stuck in that moment. It was uncomfortable stillness. I should be going. I should be moving forward, and I'm not. Yeah, it was really tough. And even communicating with people, to be honest, it's like when someone dies, you don't know what to say. And there is still an element of grief to this. All my energy, all my focus, all my grit has been absolutely focused on getting walking again. But yeah, at the minute, I am getting to the gym, aiming for 3 times a week, definitely getting there twice a week at the minute. That's all about building muscle, so I can get to a point where I can get up from the sofa and stand up straight without having to use any support, which right now I'm not able to do. It's everything. From my waking moment till I go to sleep at night, it's, okay, I need to stretch my calves. You know, when you stretch your calf, you're probably doing something with your foot in order to get that stretch in. With my left foot, I can't do that. What can I put my foot up against to replicate that stretch? And the thing is, because I've got no power, where you might lean your foot up against, let's say I got on my back and let my foot up against the wall, that left foot would slip. Because it can't even, I'd have to be really closer than the lengths of my bones in order to keep it in place. So it's really, really difficult. So everything's in a spin. It's like just grieving these things. All my focus is on, how do I get this back? How do I get this back? And there's a little bit of, you can see I'm uncomfortable, I'm shifting in my seat and everything. Like the body tells you everything.
Yeah, definitely.
It's, I have to dress differently. This is not how, this is like, okay, from the waist up, this is how I dress. From the waist down, this is not how I dress.
What was it, mini skirts before?
Yeah. Yeah. And thongs.
Yeah.
It's a nice thought for everyone, isn't it? Trainers. I had one pair of trainers that I wore to the gym, and that was it. Right. I've got to wear AFOs, they're called. Okay. You can't wear them in normal shoes. So I have to wear trainers, or I've had to buy like 4 pairs of trainers in the last year. Yeah. So it's like everything is so different, but that's where all my focus is. So I feel a bit of a fraud sometimes in the business. When I'm up on I've done a couple of speaking gigs since this happened, and stuff like this is cool because we're talking about my story. But when I'm getting up on stage and talking about marketing strategies and how to grow your business and sales and lead generation and although it's stuff I've done for a million years, in this moment I feel like a fraud because that's not where my focus is.
So it's not that you haven't got the knowledge as such, or something to give. It's the fact of your mindset.
My knowledge is there. My passion is, okay, my knowledge is there. My passion is there, but it's not coming out in the same way. And that's because I'm still holding on to this fear of what even, so I'm stood on stage delivering a talk, not being as passionate as I feel I could be.
Yeah.
Because I have to sit on a stool. I can't bound around the stage like I used to and jump into the audience and jump back up again.
See.
So I feel like I'm not being the whole me. If we go back to you asking me that question about like in that moment, what did I feel? I think I lost part of me. And I haven't found it yet. And it's probably down the back of the sofa. And my focus right now is in finding that thing. Part of finding that thing is getting my mobility where it needs to be. Like, my legs don't work properly, my bladder, my bowels, my whatever, right? As long as if I can get my legs, if I can get to a point where I can walk up and down a stage, I'm happy. Like, my goal at the moment has been to be able to step onto a stage in a, that way that just doesn't look ridiculous. I've kind of done it now. Well, I have done it with crutches. It's not as pretty as I would like it to be, but the goal was to get up onto the stage and down again on crutches, ticking the box.
Yeah, brilliant.
So the next one now is to be able to do it with a bit of elegance.
Do you think that you can, or have you already made peace with the Christina from 2025 and accepted what actually happened? Or do you still hold some resentment to that, and perhaps that might prevent you from finding that way that's down the back of the sofa?
It's not, it's not resentment. It's more like, I'm great with analogies. It's more like you were in a relationship with someone that you really, really loved more than you could love anyone ever again. And you're apart, but one day you'll be together again. And right now you're in the waiting period, and you've just got to wait it out. I've just got to wait it out. I've just got to do the work, and we'll find each other again. That is, it's not resentment. That is genuinely how I feel about it. And there are moments where I do feel whole, and having these conversations makes me feel whole. So there's glimmers of it, but it being 24/7 in me, that's where the trickiness is. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's quite a tough, because it's not as if you had a warm up.
No.
Like, you live in life like normal, in your green suit, being glamorous, to the gym, doing all these meetings, and all of a sudden, just instant.
Bang. Yeah.
And I think that's, because obviously the knock-on effect it probably had on your family would have been insane.
Thankfully, my kids are grown, so I was living on my own. But yeah, it's changed dynamics. It's absolutely changed dynamics. Instead of me being the caretaker, they take care of me now. Instead of me rocking up at my daughter's going, what the hell's going on? Get your washing up done. She's rocking up at mine. It's the other way around. Yeah. So, it's changed dynamics. However, again, mindset has meant that in a lot of ways they've changed for the better.
Yeah.
It's even things out in a lot of places.
So what lessons do you think you could take from this? And obviously they're massive lessons, obviously, huge, to perhaps go into sort of like businesses, because business, obviously it's nothing as big as this, but because your health is everything, isn't it, really?
Yeah.
So it's, I love that thing. I can't remember who says it, because if you're a healthy man has 1,000 problems, but an unhealthy man has one problem. And it's basically just kind of just get healthy again, isn't it? You know, like it's brilliant. So it's so true though, isn't it? Because you think you have 1,000 problems until something like this happens. That's the only problem.
Yeah.
That's it. Everything else is just gone.
Okay. So you wake up tomorrow morning and you can never work, and you're told you can never work again. Everything's taken away from you. What are you going to do?
I can't even comprehend to think that. That's crazy. I mean, this is exactly how it was for you. I know, I appreciate that, but I just can't, I couldn't think.
That's what you take away. That's one of the many takeaways. Okay, so should that happen, so remember I said in the first couple of weeks, I'm like, how am I going to use this? All good speakers have their little tools and, 5 steps to whatever, 5 S's and 73 M's and all the rest of it, right?
73 M's, yeah.
They're anagrams, not what are they called? Anyway, acronyms. Yeah. So the cough model.
Have you really?
Yeah.
Oh,
I literally did it within a couple of weeks. I was laid in bed writing on my notepad like that. And the pen kept stopping working. Like,
the inks going down the back. Yeah.
So first thing is community. It's not about having people around you, it's about having the right people around you. People that get you and therefore will push you. So this is peers, this is mentors. This is not your mum and your dad, your brother and your sister or your kids. This is external people. So community is just so important. Next, you've got to own your vision. In that moment, the vision was for me to walk. And I laid there with stuff not working, visualising me walking, remembering me walking, trying to remember the feeling of walking. And it laid in my bed, like doing this as if I was. Well, in business, own your vision. What do you want the business to look like? What do you look like as the entrepreneur? What does it feel like to be the successful entrepreneur that you want to be in 3 years, 5 years' time? And whilst you're feeling that, and shut your eyes and fucking feel it, why are you feeling those ways? What is it? Because they're your tick boxes of success. And I don't give a shit what success means to you, right? It's your meaning. It's personal to you. So own your vision. I make a joke. So I'd done my my plans for 2025. And one of the things that was on the list is I wanted to have more adventure. Well, I had a hell of an adventure.
Yeah.
Didn't manifest that one right.
Yeah.
One of the things that was in my vision from a business perspective, because I spent so much time in the car, I wanted to get to a point where I had a driver and I could work in the car. Well, I manifested that fucking wrong as well. I have to have a driver now. I'm not allowed to drive till the DVLA say otherwise.
That's right.
So own your vision. Get really, really specific. And when you think you've got it nailed, go a level deeper. Really own it. Think about it every day. Like if you think that vision boards are a bit woo-woo and wussy, find a different way of doing it, mate. Have these things around you. If it's photos on your screensaver or my vision, I've got pictures on they just look like family photos in frames around my living room, right? But they all represent different memories of the Christina, the where I want to get back to, where I felt fabulous, fantastic. There's a picture of my granddaughter. She's 4. There's a picture of her blowing bubbles in the park. And it's just a beautiful, I just captured it perfectly. Portrait mode on the iPhone is like always a good shout. Right. So own your vision and surround yourself with it. Go into ChatGPT, tell ChatGPT what your vision is and ask it to create a poster for you. If you're into meditation, meditate on it and see it and bring that to life. If you need to write a paragraph about your vision and every morning the first thing you do is rewrite the paragraph, I don't give a shit. Own the vision. It's yours.
Yeah.
So we've talked about community. We've talked about the vision. Then we've got to understand the reality. Where are we right now? We've got the right people around us. We know where we want to go. But where is the business right now? What needs to happen? What must happen? Not what you'd like to do. What must happen for you to move the needle, for you to get a step closer? And that's where the boring stuff is. That's where the stuff you don't want to do is. That's the stuff that will grind you down if you allow it. If you forget why you're doing it, if you haven't owned your vision, you're going to get pissed off, right?
Yeah, definitely.
If you know where you're going, why you're doing it, what the intention is behind it, it gets easy. So understanding your reality, any limitations that you've got around you, okay, we understand. Now we can get to work.
And sometimes understanding reality could be you.
Yeah.
Something that you're not doing or stopping yourself from doing.
In most businesses, the biggest, I would be as bold as to say, every business, if you've got a problem in your business and it's giving you a headache, guarantee you're the problem. 100%.
Yeah, I always say it comes from the top. So there's problems. It's something you've said or done.
Fish stinks from the head.
Yeah, always. And they're like, but you said this. I said, yeah, but you didn't do it. So therefore I didn't follow up. I didn't have the systems in place. I didn't. Do you know what I mean? So it always comes from the top at some point.
You weren't clear enough.
Yeah.
You told them to do it. You didn't tell them why. So that they didn't get on board with it. You didn't allow enough money for it to get the results you wanted. You gave up on something because you picked up another shiny object.
That's true.
You spread yourself too thin instead of giving something the focus it needed. Yeah. Always. But this idea of like the G is get to work, right? And I'm a big believer in incremental gain. If you got 10 followers and you want 10,000, the goal is to get to 20 and then 30 and then 50 and then 100. And it's like, what can I do to move the needle? We were at an event in the summer last year. And I think at that event, I'd use my frame to stand up. And my goal at that point was to be able to stand for 30 seconds, right? Well, that goal became standing, not holding on for 30 seconds. I had more recently, again, getting into the gym, I get on the treadmill and I have to hold on. And my goal was 500 meters. I wanted to be able to do 500 meters in under 15 minutes. First time I did it, it took me 22 minutes and I had to have 2 breaks. Now I can do it all in one go. It's about 13 and a half minutes now. Incremental gain. Now, if we take that and we pop it into a sales situation, I'm not getting any leads. Okay, how many leads do you want? Well, actually, when we look at it, you're getting about 5 leads a week. Is that enough? Is it that you need to be converting 4 out of the 5 and you're only converting 1 out of the 5 right now? Okay, let's fix that. Now we fix that. Now let's look at how many leads we bring in. Where do those leads come from? Well, actually, half of our leads come from this source. Okay, how can we increase that lead source? Brilliant. We've now got that nailed all the way through. Let's look at a second lead source because now we've got the system in place and the sales strategies in place and everything else. Right. Some people go, I haven't got enough leads. Let me get more leads. Brilliant. You've got 100 leads coming in. You still can't fucking convert, can you?
Exactly. Yeah. That's
Do you know what I mean? So it's what's the reality? Let's get to work. Let's fix it. Incremental gains. Yes, we know there's a big picture out there. That's our vision, right? But we know what the current situation is. We're going to get to work on it. And then the final part of it literally stands for happy. Like find your joy.
Yeah.
When you get those wins, celebrate them. Recognize them. As entrepreneurs, we are always going to move the goalposts. Always. 100%. Always. We are never done. Until we're in the ground, we ain't done.
Yeah, definitely.
You can retire it. Like you can retire tomorrow. Guarantee you're back in 12 months' time. 2 years. Like it's like it's like an illness, you know. We can't get it out of us. So find your happy, find your joy in all the craziness and the misery and the soul searching and the questioning. And I say there's a load of shitty stuff that happened whilst I was in hospital. We don't need to go into that, but let's just say it was a drag. There was one morning I woke up and I looked out the window. Where I was in the window, and then you've got staff car park, flat field. That's it. And this morning I just like sat on the edge of the bed looking out this window, going like, another day. And I knew I didn't have any visitors that day, and it's just like, oh my God. And like, honestly, there's like 6 beds in this ward and everyone else is like, I think the next youngest person was 85.
Oh, okay.
So it was like, you know, 2 of them had dementia, 1 couldn't hear, and just craziness. But the sun started coming up, and just because of the terrain, the sun rising, it's like you saw this little glimpse, and then it just came in all its orange beauty, and I was just like, wow. And I just sat and watched the sun come up, and it was just a beautiful moment. And in that moment, I felt that Christina that had felt locked in was breathing on the outside. You know, and it is find your joy. The day I was able to walk from my bed to the entrance of the bay was just a wow. It was just like when I stood in that entrance, and I was, because it's the first time I'd been out the room for 6 weeks or whatever, and I was just like, wow, you know, like actually, like it's happened. It's happening.
Yeah.
That feeling was joy.
Yeah.
So find your happy, find your joy, enjoy those moments. At the point where I am on a stage, walking up and down and shouting about and jumping and whatever else I might do, I won't be thinking about the fact that I'm doing it.
Yeah.
Because when you're in the outcome, you don't. So if I don't enjoy the journey along the way, what's the point?
That's so true, because I like it. Do you know, like, life is like a passage of time.
Yeah.
So you fill it with as many great experiences as you can, and there will be negative experiences, but you want to try and shorten the amount that you have of those and increase the amount of good experiences that you have, because it is just a passage of time that's just going to go whether we like it or not.
You know, like when you're watching like a Netflix box set, right? The best ones, every episode has this element to it, right? And you're enjoying all those little bits of the story happening. Well, your life is a story. Fucking enjoy it.
Yeah, that's right. It's so good.
When I stepped onto that stage, I was so pleased with myself. Like it, you know. And I thought, oh, fucking hell, I don't know how I'm going to get down again now. I didn't think about that. I'd been so focused on getting up there and like thinking about it, that I hadn't, like in my head, there's a whole thing with like which way you have to use the opposite crutch to the leg you want to move balancing. And all that.
Yeah,
right?
that's it.
Yeah, because my balance is shot because I've got no feeling in my feet.
Yeah.
So it was like, right, I need to go right leg up, left leg up, lean forward, arse out, then crutch. Okay, yeah. Right leg up. And I'd like in the back of the room replaying this. But I hadn't replayed getting down again. And that's the hard part.
Isn't that funny?
Because these AFO things I have to wear, I have to come down backwards.
Ah.
And then you have to put the crutches down and almost lean back on the crutches as you bring your foot down. And it's like, that's where you really feel your lack of balance. If I was going to fall on my arse, it was in that moment.
That'd be crazy, isn't it?
But it's because I'm choosing to enjoy every moment.
Yeah.
All these little goals I've put, every goal I've put in has felt like huge. park run, I want to be able to walk 5K,
Brilliant.
right? I can't think about walking 5K right now.
But look at the
But
progress you've made so far, though.
The thing is, I can look at walking 500 meters under 15 minutes with an incline. Like, you know, now I can do 500 meters in under 15 minutes. I don't give a shit about it anymore, right? Whereas for the last 3-4 months, it's all I was focused on.
Yeah.
And this is exactly what I'm doing. If I celebrated every time and go, whoop, whoop, me,
Yeah.
I probably would have enjoyed the journey of that a little bit more. But I get to the end of it and I'm like, okay, right, what's next?
Yeah.
500 meters with an incline, let's do that.
Yeah.
So
It's crazy, isn't it?
yeah. So find your joy, find the thing to
happiness.
celebrate, whether it's the revenue or the shift in your net profit, or, you know, it is a, right now you're getting those leads in and they're converting how you want them to convert, and you're going to celebrate by taking the meal out for a team. They're taking the team out for a meal, you know, whatever it might be. If it's taken a couple of days out to spend with your family with the phone off, find you're happy.
Definitely, yeah.
Because it could all go tomorrow. So enjoy it now. That goal that you've got, you might never reach. It might all get taken away beforehand. So enjoy it all in the moment as it's happening. Be present. And if you don't know how to be present, find a mentor that will show you, that will teach you, get into groups with people that know how to, because you can talk to them and it's like osmosis. Left brain, right brain. Yeah, I love the data science-backed stuff, and I like a bit of the woo as well. Okay. But yeah, there's the thing, you surround yourself with the right people, etc., however you want to dress it up. You know, if you're in a room and you can't spot who the dickhead is, it's you. Like, whichever way you want to put it, right? If you are in a room with the right people for you at the stage you're at in your business, it's going to level you up.
Definitely, yeah.
But I said for where you are in your business, because sometimes when you become a big fish in that pond, it's time to get into a new pond as well.
Yeah, I felt that when I obviously joined the mentor group that we're members of. Before then, I was a little bit lost, and I was like, every room I was going into, similar to you where you were helping people, I was like, I love it, it's amazing. But then when I walk around, I'm like, okay, so what did I get? And
Yeah,
I'm like, nothing.
give.
Yeah, nothing. I was like, I'm still wrong room. I mean, about 18 months this. And then I found, you know, sort of like the mentor programs that we're members of. And I was like, now, actually, this is much better.
Yeah.
Getting something from it now, coming away, and I've learned something. So it's amazing. But Christina, so we have 3 quick fire round questions. This has been amazing, by the way. Really, really amazing.
You never know what you're going to get with me. So.
No. So I kind of got a feeling I think this might be, but what's the best piece of advice that you've ever received?
Okay, so the thing I shared earlier about the 10% will love you, 10% will hate you, that's definitely always been the best bit of advice. If I was going to come up with something else, trying to think of something I haven't shared already. Why not you? I asked a question once of a mentor. I'd had an opportunity and I was still playing small at this point, and this has come up, not sure I could do it. I'm not sure I'm like, you know, big enough, cool enough, loved enough. And he just said, why not you? And he said it in a way that was like, why are you asking such a stupid question? Like, don't be a dickhead. Why not you? And that's probably where I get my mentoring style from a little bit, to be honest.
To the point.
It's like, let's just cut to the chase now. But when those words were said, it was like I'd been punched in the stomach. Because, why not me? And, that opened up something.
Yeah, why not you?
Yeah.
And if this was your book, your life, what would be the title of the chapter of your current situation right now? Could be one word, sentence.
So, the book of my life would be called Show Up, Back You. They're the words I use at the end of all my presentations. I'm sure you've seen me on stage and use those, because it is show up for yourself, back yourself. That's where the magic happens. 100% believe that. The book of where I am now.
The chapter.
Yeah.
The name of the chapter. Sort of phase
That's
of
such
your
a
life
good
is this.
question. Do you always think it's really funny that it was a cough? Because it is like, fuck off.
Oh, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's like that is like how I feel about it. And so I'd have to use that.
Yeah, that's a good one, actually. 'Cause that's like drawing a line under, isn't it?
Yeah, you
Done.
know, it's a... I grew up the early part of my life, right up until I bought the business, probably even at that point, I thought that less than average was the best I would be. It was kind of, I'd wired that into myself. Things had happened, experiences that kind of, every time I got to a certain point, things would fall apart, or I would explode my life, right? So this idea of not being quite enough. At one point, one of my passwords was never enough. It isn't anymore, so that's fine. But I always kind of smile a bit when I think of like that part of my life is so far behind me. But when I think about this, I've got so much going for me because I don't think about it that way. It's like the title for this chapter should be something quite punchy and negative and screw you.
Well, I think the first one worked well.
You know, but it's like, but I don't feel that way about it. It's such a weird place to be, because I think
How about Finding Me?
It is like, it doesn't feel like a new beginning. It feels like an evolution. I'm in the middle of an evolution. And yeah, I don't have to try as hard as I have done in the past. So yeah, maybe evolution.
Evolution, that's a good one. And then lastly, where can people find you?
Oh, all over the place. Where am I not? So best place to connect with me is always going to be LinkedIn. That's where I pay most attention. Major lead source. So yeah, LinkedIn, Christina Robinson. That's where you can stay up to date with what's going on with me. Like I said, I've got the marketing stuff going on, the mentorship stuff going on. And I'm always available for people to chat.
Brilliant.
You know, I'm at a point now where time is not money.
Nice.
And I'm quite happy to jump on a call with someone if they need some support.
Nice.
You know, it's I'm in quite a good place now where I can just be, like I say, I'm living my freedom right now.
Well, Christina, it's been an absolute pleasure hearing your story. So thank you so much for sharing it with us. It's been absolutely amazing. And for you to come out the other side and set these goals that you're achieving and just smashing out the park is absolutely amazing. So
this is the thing. The work is not done.
Yes. It's an ongoing journey for sure. Yeah.
But then this is the thing for all of us in business, the work is never done.
Never done. We're always working on it. We'll finish there. That was actually good. Thanks very much.